Upgrades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review brought to you from the Tribeca Film Festival. This film here is called The Line, and here's a quick synopsis. Fraternity member Tom, during his sophomore year, is not only faced with the complexities of politics and alliances with his fraternity, but an unexpected relationship with Annabelle, a lone girl in one of his classes. Along with his economic status, things become complicated. Interesting synopsis right there, trust me. Directed by Ethan Berger, starring Alex Wolff. It stars Lewis Pullman, it stars Bo Mitchell, and it stars Halle Bailey. Now, The Line is a movie about fraternities. If you know about a movie about fraternities, especially a dramatic movie about fraternities, you kind of already know the path that this film is going to head down. And guess what? It gives you nothing new here. It goes directly down that path. And we're going to start with a little bit of the negative before we get into the positives about this film. And that is one of the biggest issues with this film, is that it gives you everything you can expect from this type of film and nothing different. It's from the moment the film opens and we see Alex give a speech to the underclassmen that are coming in for the fraternity. You kind of know at that point what's going to happen here. The positive is it's still an interesting ride. At the beginning, after we get the pledges and this just unnecessarily long speech that he gives them about what it means to be in their fraternity, we're introduced to Alex and Mitch, who are bunkmates, I think that's called, when you share dorm with one another. And we meet Mitch's father, who's played by John Malkovich, in one scene only. He is still devilish in it, and it's absolutely funny. But there we get the crux of these two characters. We understand that Mitch is struggling for acceptance because he can't get it at home. So the fraternity is partially part of his acceptance here. And we get Alex, who tends to be, even though he comes from a family that's not as well off as the other families from this college. That's the way to put it. We see him struggling eternally with accepting that his family is not as well off as the other families, while still being cheerleaded because of just the person that he is here. And from that, we get to see exactly through his prism about how this fraternity works, how this fraternity moves. From we're introduced to Mitch, for some odd reason, having an arch nemesis of this new recruit who comes in the door. It's not a good subplot of this film. It's something that makes absolutely no sense for Mitch's character to even be this way in this film. But it's a way to set up just how bad fraternities are. And that's the other problem with this film. At no point in time do you feel anything positive about fraternities in this film. And at times it was a disconnect, and I'm going to bring in a topic that I don't normally bring in when I review films. It's a disconnect with race in this film. As a black man, it is hard for me to imagine anyone being in any group that's like this fraternity. But also me being a black man, understanding that African Americans don't necessarily have fraternities. We have the Greek life, the Greek atmosphere is a lot different than what's portrayed in a lot of these movies as the fraternity life. Those are so opposite of one another that it makes this film, or it makes the audience feel like who would ever want to join a fraternity. Nothing positive is coming from this fraternity. And you kind of wonder, okay, so if nothing positive is coming in from this fraternity, what's the point of a fraternity? This film does a poor job of explaining exactly what a properly run fraternity is. Instead, it focuses on all the negatives and all the bad things about fraternities. And maybe that's the audience this film wants to go after. My issue is, if that's your only audiences you're going after, I think your vision of the film is too limited. I think the vision of this film is definitely too limited, and it leads to a movie that, while technically it is sound, cinematography is really good in it. The score is great in this film. The performances, even in the limited amount of work that they give the actors to do, is really good here. The problem is, it's so limited in scope. I think it hurts every other element of this film because at no point in time did I care about these characters. Even through moments, it seems like you're trying to humanize them. At no point in time did I think of them as being humans. Not in this film. I thought of it as just being so robotic, as the plot is so robotic that it became a film that I couldn't enjoy to watch. And I think that is unfortunately a sad aspect of the line. Now, from the thriller aspects of it, I understand from the dramatic thriller aspects of it how certain people can be entertained by this film. It sets up everything beautifully. Again, the score is part of that. Is the way they set up the dread, the way they set up the inevitable doom that's about to hit this fraternity. The problem again is because you're not showing anything positive of what fraternities are, everyone just seems evil in the film. And I think that just horrible lens that this film is shot through of that aspect of not truly showing at least anything positive from this fraternity, I think it just lends to the film feeling pointless in the end. Again, the direction is solid in this film. I absolutely love the score of this film. Absolutely loved it. The performances are good, but again, very one note because everyone's just bad and evil in it, and there's not really a good person in it. Even when they try to get Tom to come across as a good guy and they use Haley Bailey as a way to do it, it's the relationship they share is so unnecessary and so pointless. You feel it coming from a mile away that this was inserted to attempt to humanize Tom as a character, and it doesn't work here because their relationship doesn't make any sense at all. And I think the film struggles because of it. But if you're going to go into it and you want to make a film about fraternity life and what that means, I think you're going to have to show as much positive as you do negative. Yes, the path that this fraternity goes down in this film is a well-known path that everyone can see coming a mile away. But if you would have interjected it with a little bit of what the positive things that happen, what's the main purpose of entering in this type of life and type of atmosphere for a young man? I think that would have made this film even better because it had made the inevitable conclusion more realistic. Instead, we get the opposite of like old school, a humorless one note take on what fraternities are, and that to me is not only a problem with this film. I think to the detriment of the film. That's what happens here. So, the line brought to you by the Tribeca Film Festival. Out of a possible 10, I am going to give the line 3.5 out of 10. There are definitely some things that you can glean out of just to make it positive, and that is decent performances. Again, I absolutely love the score. I fully understood the direction the director was going into. Unfortunately, it is just so predictable, so one note that in the end, I'm not sure if this is a film that is going to be enjoyable for most people to watch. It's kind of hard to enjoy something when you can kind of pinpoint the way the movie is going to go 5 minutes into it. You kind of know exactly where this film is going, and that is not a pleasurable thing. I think it's a disservice to just the people who probably worked extremely hard on this film. That this film was just too predictable to be enjoyable. But check it out when it drops again. Currently, I believe this is still an independent film, so it does not have distribution yet. But when that changes, we'll let you know. This has been another JVS movie review from the Tribeca Film Festival. Peace, people.